Welcome back, everyone, to Total Nonstop Impact Talk for Impact fans right here on the YouTube and your Twitch and wherever you get your podcast audio worldwide, baby. Um, just solo tonight, unless Bill does come in here. I was expecting him. Um, no biggie. We'll just we'll work this solo, and then if he does come in, we'll get his thoughts on what happened tonight. It was man. Here I'm thinking we're just going to get a couple cool matches, and we're going to talk about a Joe Hendry match and a Rascalz slash MSK match. Possibly getting the titles, maybe not. But I did not think we were going to get the ending that we got tonight. Shocking. Absolutely shocking. Let me know your responses to everything in the comments too. And as we get this show started, folks, you know what to do. Smash that like button, smash that sub button, ring that bell for notifications. If you smash that like button, it's just a little thing, but it means a lot to us. Really can change things on YouTube. So all the help is greatly appreciated. All right, we got some members in here. Good to see you guys. If you guys are curious about becoming a member and helping supporting the show, in that way, you can go to the front page of the YouTube channel and get all the information. There's different levels you can help with, and it's just one small payment a month. Some of you guys are hardcore and make donations every week, like Bell's Boy here. This guy is crazy. We love you, Bell's Boy. Thank you so much. Says we got the $20 tip here. It says looks like Dez. Oh, I mean Wesley has dumped the Rascalz. Figures that Sean would play on the real life reasons why Zachary had to leave NXT and turn that into an angle. Sean's smarter than Paul. I'll tell you that. Paul. Are you talking about Paul Heyman? They're both very smart in their ways, but yeah, it's if you heard the audio as the show was ending, Wes said to Zachary Wentz, "You left me. You left me," and that's heavy stuff. That's heavy stuff. And we don't need to go into all the details on what happened and why and all that stuff. But yeah, that was wild stuff. Oh, you mean Paul Levesque. You mean Triple H, Paul. My bad. Sorry. So let me read that again. All right. Sean's smarter than Paul, I'll tell you that. Well, I don't know if he's smarter than Paul. The fact that Paul is trusting Shawn Michaels to do this with well, I don't know who the whole crew is down in NXT. Last time I saw a gorilla table, it was Shawn Michaels and Jason Albert. So, or whatever his name is, the hip hop hippo, the head coach of NXT, Lord Tensai, if you will. Look, they're all intelligent and they all come up with great ideas. So I'm not going to sit here and wager between the two. They're both collectively doing an amazing job with what they're given. It was, we've said it a million times. Um, it is a new era in WWE, and even if you don't think it is, you got to take a look around. You really got to take a look around. Look at the partnerships. Look at the things happening. Um, it's big. It's big, and it's so much fun. Whether you're a TNA fan or you're an NXT fan checking out TNA, and we've seen that on here. We've had people come in here and say, "Hey, I watch NXT, but I'm excited about this TNA stuff, so I'm here." So, all right. Well, they did announce a couple things tonight for those of you who are interested in NXT. Now, apparently, this is going to be for the first couple shows on the CW. They're going to go live from. First one is going to be from the Allstate Arena, and I believe the second one is going to be from some arena in St. Louis. I didn't catch the details, but I know it was up on the screen. And they're going to have CM Punk for one guest, and they're going to have Randy Orton for the other guest. That is pretty amazing. Can we please? You guys know what I'm going to say. You guys know what I'm going to say. Can we please get CM Punk and Joe Hendry in a match in Chicago? Oh, man. Dude, how seriously, for the debut, on CW, how awesome would that be? Joe Hendry versus CM Punk. I don't think it's got a headline, right? It's got a headline. Justin Biller's seriously thinking about going to the Chi-Town for that. Yeah. Bear says October 8th, Tuesday night, Wars returns for one night only. Oh, yeah, I did hear about that. Something about AEW changing their programming for that week or something. I don't know. Aaron Jack, what is up? Good to see you. Says, with this awesome partnership with NXT and TNA, we can get some NXT TNA merchandise. That would be awesome and different. And there might be something coming down the road between the two that might become more permanent. Who knows? We don't know what's going on in their heads. We don't know how big they want to make this. We can sit on our couches, we can sit on our computers, and we can fantasize all the stuff in the world. And that's fun. It's, we do it a little bit on here. We don't do it too much, but we do it a little bit. Justin says AEW is doing Title Tuesday on the 8th. Oh, okay. Well, then they are certainly they are certainly doing that for whether they're either straight competing or they had to change programming and change it to that night for something else. I don't know. I didn't hear the details about it. I heard something about Title Tuesday, but I didn't hear anything why. So, but yeah, man, I if it was, no, Stop, Bill's boy. If it was up to me, I would talk about this whole show, but we will keep it to just the TNA content, which may make it, not quite as long as other reviews. Certainly, we'll try to keep this somewhat short and sweet. But I do want to, on a night like this, we do have, a good amount of chatters. I'll open it up to you, certainly, for, if you guys got opinions, questions, whatever. But let's dive into this first, okay? Um, we got Joe Hendry versus Joe Coffey, the Battle of the Joes. And let me know in the chat while we're talking about this. Let me know what you thought of this. Um, and you knew it was going to be an uphill battle, especially with Gallus being there. And I noticed in the a cup of Joe. What do we got over here? A cup of Joes. I love Enzo. I'm sorry. Uh, so any J-Bone news about a possible appearance from someone on TNA? Yeah, I know. You guys were talking about that right before I went live. Let's talk about this match first, and then we'll get into that. Um, and I don't typically um, uh, talk about spoilers, but it's not really a spoiler because TNA already put it out there. Um, Now, beyond that, I'm not sure because I know there were a few. Hang on a second. Pardon me. Just adjusting my tabs here. Um, oh, yes. Let's talk about that, Justin. Absolutely. Um, Hendry pulling and Eddie Guerrero loved it. Double heart emoji. Uh, yeah. So like we said, he had his back up against the wall here. You're not only dealing with one guy, you're dealing with all of Gallus, um, which is what Mark. Is that Mark Coffey? Is that the other guy? What two of them are brothers, right? I think I'm right here. Um, Mark Coffey, and then of course Wolfgang, and they're all from uh, there's Scottish or something. um, Joe and Mark Coffey. Okay, all right, there we go. Yeah, Joe and Mark Coffey. And these guys are. I don't know if they've always been together as a tag team. How long this team of Gallus has been around. I'm guessing since NXT UK days. But then again, there's also their history that they had um, in the UK, you know. Um, Scotland. Yeah. Well, Scotland's part of. Isn't Scotland part of the UK or not really? No, that's part of Europe. I'm thinking of Ireland. Scottish, Irish, UK-ish, UK-ish, English, whatever. I don't know. Anyways, Joe and Mark Coffey are brothers, right? And so I don't know if they've always been together in the UK or if they battled against each other or what. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know their history and exactly how far back it goes. Oh, here we go. Bell's Boy. Gallus has been around in the Indies and NXT UK, particularly WCPW, later Defiant Wrestling. J-Bo. Okay, thank you. See, that's the kind of, little notes, little helps here when I don't know a specific thing. So that's good to know. Scotland's a part of the UK, upper part of the UK. Oh, okay. See, my geography is just horrible. Like I know that the UK is the island and Ireland is part of the island or something. I don't know. Bell's. Here we go. Here's a geography lesson. The United Kingdom consists of England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland, J-Mo. Thank you. See, that's what I'm talking about. You get a too sweet, sir. Boom, too sweet. Thank you, Bell's Boy. They did most battles against each other, says Mr. Aries here. Okay. Cool. All right. So yeah, you got these guys. They're tight knit from what I'm, from what I'm learning. They've been around. They've been around the block a few times. And then you got Joe Hendry, who's quite the veteran in the UK scene. Sir, he knows these guys. So in that sense, he's got to feel really good about having this match against these guys, or Joe in particular, on this stage. That's got to feel really good. You got to keep it, kayfabe, of course, but they got to be proud of that. So, but yeah, tosses the chair to Wolfgang, jumps up, smack, lands on the table, which causes the referee to spin around like, what's going on? What's going on? And then tosses, the 2/3 of Gallus out. And that right there was pretty awesome. Pretty awesome right there. Bell's Boy here with all the notes says, last notes, Joe Coffey and Joe Hendry were members of a heel stable called The Prestige in WCPW in 2017 and 18, J-Bone. Oh, wow, okay. Nice. And I'm guessing that was like in the time that Joe Hendry was not in Impact Wrestling. Because I know there was like a time before when he was in there. I'm probably screwing that up too, but anyways. But thank you. All the little notes. Love it. So yeah, great match. The crowd's on fire. Joe Hendry is then in an interview with Schreiber. I can't think of her name, but anyways. And then because she kind of made it sound like, oh, your time here is might be coming to an end. And he's like, oh no, I'm gonna stick around here. I'm just getting started. So apparently he's already got a match set up for next week. Now, against who, we don't know. But we do know that this Thursday, 2 days from now, on the 8th, Thursday night, on TNA Impact, Joe Hendry will face, got the visual right here, Joe Hendry this Thursday versus Wolfgang. also part of Gallus. So very excited to see that match take place. Can't wait for that. Now, I know there's been other names that popped up. Don't really want to talk about them right now. I'll just kind of let those play out, and we'll talk about those during the review. So, if you guys have seen the names that have popped up from NXT to TNA at the Florida tapings, keep it to your vest, please. Don't put it in there unless it's something that TNA has already put out in the socials. If they put it out in the socials, we can talk about it. Okay. So very excited about the Joe. I almost said Joe Coffey. Oh, I'm very excited about the Joe Hendry. Yeah, no spoilers. No spoilers. I mean, if you want to know what's out there, you just got to look at Twitter, you know. Mayor says, did you hear about Josh Alexander? If it's something that came out within the last 24 hours, then no. Did he post something that I don't know about? What's by the way, Joe Hendry's got some great looking some new great looking merch. Oh God, Fallout from the Wedding. Kushida, Jonathan Gresham. I'm just quick going down to Joe Hendry in action. I'm not seeing Matt Cardona posing with the brick. Jeez Louise. Lovely little gift there. I'm not I didn't hear about, like, is he like injured or something? Did something happen? I'm not seeing nothing. Then again, I want to take too much live time and look all over social media. But I have not heard anything specifically about Josh Alexander. um, but yeah, if there's something significant to talk about, we can. But in the meantime, um, let's jump into the next match that is TNA related. Oh, Justin Miller says just rumors. Oh, okay, yeah, then we don't have to talk about that. I There's so much crap out there in social media. There really is. I mean, this this is the crap that I'm talking about. Like I was just scrolling through social media. I saw a bunch of stuff on the Olympics, and I hadn't really. Yeah, there's a lot of controversy going on, and I don't mean to get into the controversial stuff, but there's like the boxing, where the lady was boxing another lady who was actually a man or something. I don't know. And then I saw a headline a couple of days later that the one that lost died, and I'm like, what? And so I did did some more deep diving to find out it was fake news. I'm like, man, why do people do this shit? It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating. But yeah, good old social media. All right. The cesspool. Yes, absolutely. It is a cesspool. All right. let's dive into the other match that we were going to talk about tonight, and that is the NXT Tag Team Titles match between Nathan Frazer and Axiom, defending against 2/3 of the Rascalz. It's the original MSK, which is Wesley and Zachary Wentz. And I tell you, Trey Miguel's at ringside, wears his heart on his sleeve, always very emotional. Uh-oh. He's here. What's up, Bill?
Better late than not here, but
better late than never.
Yeah, never was almost a chance. The travel lag has caught up to me since I just came back. Well, still well less than 24 hours since I've touched down back home here from my Florida
from the Florida
travels.
Trip. Okay.
So obviously,
so when you went,
weather played a factor.
You had an extra few days down there then.
Well, yeah, I was scheduled to come back Monday night. It was my flight, but then that flight got canceled, even though it really wasn't affecting Orlando that much, but because of everything else being impacted, it kind of had a effect where everything else got either pushed or delayed. So luckily I quickly acted and hopped on then a different airline that was going out later that night, got the last seat on that one, but then that was pushed for quite a bit. So wound up flying in the middle of the night, getting by very early this morning, but still got the full day of work on my return in. But as I finished part 2 of the Great American Bash here, and waiting for the show to go live, I was just sitting there and the wave came over me, J-Bone, as
I get that.
I woke up and it was like, it's 10:45. It's like, what happened?
What happened?
Where did this last half hour go?
Did you catch any of it?
Oh yeah. It was more the while I was just waiting and getting stuff set up, I was just waiting for. I'm like, all right, I got about 20 minutes, and then gone. Sitting up, fell asleep.
Okay.
Not in this chair, but almost.
I've never fallen asleep in this chair.
Yeah, I've fallen asleep in chairs, but not this chair.
No, it's bullshit. I always fall asleep in this chair. I'll kick back in the morning and I'd set up my morning news and I watch my news clips. I watch the Wrestle Talk and Cultaholic and whatchamacallit, Holic, whatever. All those guys. And 90% of the time I'll be like halfway through a video and post breakfast I'll be out cold, all of a sudden, like it's like 2 hours later, it's like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. I'm like, holy crap, I need to get my day going.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Once the day stops, that's where it's like, all right, the gas, then we're gas, and then it is. So as long as stuff's happening, everything's good. But even if stopping for a few minutes, that's once the body's going, it's like, oh, what you doing there? What you doing there?
Yeah. Trying to keep it motivated and going and on all cylinders, and sometimes the cylinders just all putts out at once. Anyways, but glad you're here. I was just getting into the second match of the 2, but let's rewind because I want to get your thoughts on the Joe Hendry Joe Coffey match.
Yeah, no, that was obviously we're seeing Joe on a roll on both TNA and NXT, and it's definitely translating on both companies, which is great to see because
Oh yeah,
he is now kind of the dual threat we've been talking about. And I know it's been something that's coming up, and it was an interesting thing to be there in Florida this past week during the tapings, which you'll start seeing Thursday night,
right,
because there is obviously a partnership, and I think it's going very well. But that is what it is; it's a partnership in talking to everyone
right,
down there, and that's how it's viewed, and stuff that we talk about. I think that's what even upper management's talking about right now is what like and I think some people may be right. Like, obviously, they're getting Joe Hendry, which is one of the most over acts in wrestling today on
yeah,
NXT, which is huge.
right,
That's getting them. That's getting them eyeballs. That's getting them there. But that works both ways because you look, especially the social media presence, uh, like unrelated. But what is it? Odyssey Jones showed up last night for the first time in forever, and he has like the biggest debut video of anybody in wrestling in like forever because of the machine. Like obviously what he did, but also that
oh
machine at
yeah.
WWE. And the same thing with Joe Hendry. Like, hey, TNA
Well, and
can
there's
promote
also
it out the wazoo, but they only have so many resources.
right, but there's also like it, just thinking specifically on Odyssey Jones, there it feels like there's a grassroots movement behind him because people have been talking on and off for him
Well,
for
he was drafted right to Raw, but then never showed up for like a year.
it was 2 years
2 years,
ago,
was it 2 years?
right? Two drafts ago,
Yeah,
yeah.
so he was like one
So
of those things, like he's coming, but he never showed up.
well, and then there's rumors that he was gonna go to AEW. People didn't even know if he was still with the company. It's like,
Eventually
there's
build
just
your own buzz. So, but once
exactly,
again,
exactly.
and buzz though, that is the game that Joe Hendry's in right now, the buzz game. And no, he had a good match here. Obviously, fellow countryman has some history, and I don't know if you already gone over it, but obviously big win here. But we see that that's not all we're getting because it was announced that this Thursday we'll be seeing some
Yes.
more from Gallus.
Right. I did mention that. I don't know if there was something specifically on NXT that was said, but I did see that
There's the graphic, yes.
TNA put up the graphic here tonight. Joe Hendry versus Wolfgang from NXT, and like I was telling the people, and the people know that Wolfgang is 1/3 of Gallus. So so I don't know if they're gonna twist that into like a revenge thing. Like I gotta get him back. I'm gonna follow him back to TNA and go after him if that's how they're gonna kind of twist that, whatever. I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah,
But
and I think that's what you want to see, like with the partnership, is there is a storyline and it's going across both shows.
right.
And
And they're
obviously the
and they're
difference of
doing it
having a
well.
live versus taped, not the easiest thing to pull off. But
No.
once again, I know some people may have issues, be like, hey, we want your top act, but that ain't how these things work because just like we'll say it again, why Joe did not win the world title. If he's your world champion, it comes a lot tougher to book him on another promotion show and not have him
Yes.
just go over everybody, which could be a nice short term angle. But this feels like this is a long term angle we're getting here with
Right.
Joe and NXT.
You got a much more flexible character to work with, much more options if he's not champion. You can have him win a few, you can have him lose a few. You can really build a story, you can really build a rivalry, short term, long term, whatever. Yeah,
Mm.
you got options. Another thing I talked to Mayor, we'll get to that in a second. I'm just clueless tonight. But they did announce on the show tonight that the first few dates for NXT's debut on the CW is going to be in some big Midwest cities around here. One is going to be in Chicago's Allstate Arena, CM Punk as a guest on there.
Ooh.
And then also St. Louis, Missouri, with Randy Orton as a guest.
Smart.
And very smart. And like if you're gonna, book a city, not a massive arena, 10,000 seater ish, and put a few guests in there, to spice it up, get a few more thousand people in there, maybe sell out, who knows. I said, hey, Joe Hendry's one of the hottest guys around right now. Why not book Joe Hendry versus CM Punk in Chicago?
Oh, wow, that'd be a big one. Yeah, I don't know, but that would. Once again, that's great on paper. Like, would definitely get the people going, but it's almost like you go all the way there. Like you go from 0 to 100 quick with a matchup like that. But hey, that would definitely get the people talking. There's no doubt about that.
Oh yeah.
And like you can use him as like a special guest, but if you feature him in some type of contest going into that, obviously, but do they need it? Can they sell out that place with just the idea of him along with an NXT Super Show? We'll see. I think it probably could do very well on its own, probably.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see what they do. I threw it out there because I'm like, I think it's money. I didn't think you should pass that up. All right, Mayor. So Mayor brought this up earlier. No one else has really said anything other than it's just rumors. Says, did you hear about Josh Alexander? Because Bone Man apparently doesn't know. What is it? Something that have you heard of this? Is it worth talking about? I don't even know.
Just something regarding Josh Alexander.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't.
It's very vague.
Like did his headpiece fall off in the toilet and people are like, ew, you're gross now, we like you. What's
I know I think it was mainly maybe I don't know if they had already planned it or if it was due to the storm. Like Jade and himself, I believe, were still in Florida as of the other day. I think they may have extended it from the go for a little vacation, but I don't know if they may have been affected by that. But I'm not sure, honestly. The last couple of days I haven't been on the social media or anything that much, so if he's doing some type of angle or something, I may have missed it too. I may be in the same boat as you, Bone Man.
All right.
So yeah, I didn't see anything specifically, but it wouldn't shock me if he was, because we know this new Josh Alexander heel. Rumors abound. Justin Miller. Well, I'm sure he's one like that. People are probably thinking could be one that would show up at NXT, maybe be that next person in the company. It could. And I don't know if that's just following like the Ethan Page angles or just as a top guy from the company. So that could make sense, but it's like there are some built-in things there, not necessarily that they'll lean on that, but they have with some other things, obviously, and we'll get to more of the Rascalz. But okay, that seems to be what Justin's saying. I guess somebody's
so it has to do with Page. Okay. Well, maybe they wanted to set up something, and maybe Page and because from what I heard, that Page and Alexander kind of had a falling out right around the time that Page left Page left Impact Wrestling, TNA, whatever. And because those guys traveled all over the place together. They were the hottest tag team for over a year in Impact. Longest reigning champs for, I think, for a while. And uh, so to fire that relationship back up and see what you can do with it and work it into a storyline, turn it into business, make money off of it. It's not a bad thing, but it's easier if you're both on the same page and you got some kind of mutual bonding as a friendship again, much
Yeah, and they
easier
have to
instead of
see
just
they've devoted so much of the NXT TV time to the Rascalz angle that it made sense for it to go over the history. Like they built it up, a lot of matches. Are they willing to do a lot of that investment? Like I'm talking about WWE NXT for the North angle, which is, yeah, and it's history that's there, but it's all TNA history. Like Ethan Page obviously went there, big debut, championship. So there is the history there. But I don't know. I don't know. And I think you're right as well with, I don't know if it's one that they really want to deal with. Because of even though we look at it as TNA, hey, they were the team to beat. Speaking of the Rascalz, Rascalz really were the only other team in that division. And a lot of people kind of blame the dominance of the North for the Rascalz falling apart in TNA. So they could acknowledge it, but at least it doesn't feel like that. I feel almost if they even go Josh, it'd be a separate entity of its own. That is just TNA top guy, Josh Alexander. They might do a little rib where they run into each other if he does make a show up and they bump into each other backstage or something and give a nod or something. But I don't know if they'd go much farther than that.
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of options, lots of different ways they could twist something, turn it into a full blown feud, turn it into a partnership. Cause you never know how long Ethan Page is going to remain NXT champion. I feel like it's going to be a short run because I feel like he's going to be I don't want to say he's too good for NXT, but I think he's too good for NXT. I think he's been around long enough that he knows. I mean, yeah, there are certain things that they do teach you in NXT about camera angles and stuff like that, which is important for being on TV. But I feel like Page has been around long enough that he can jump to the main roster and you can.
And I think that's the key. It's what their plan is for as long as he has the title. The same thing we talk about Joe. They got to be protecting their champions. So, and especially if you're talking about getting him involved in a main storyline with a guy not part of their company, that's a commitment that you have to be willing to make for how long. So that's why as long as he is champion, it feels less likely. Now, if he did I know a lot of times that what they do with their champions, though, obviously they didn't do it with Trick because he's still there. But a lot of times they lose and then they go to the main roster. So, but if Page were to lose and stay on NXT for at least another couple months, then I could see maybe an Alexander angle making sense. Yeah. But as the champ, I feel it's actually less likely.
Could be. All right. Well, let's jump into this last match, the main event of tonight's NXT show. And it's MSK. I was just going to dive into it right when you came in. So we're talking about MSK going after the NXT tag team titles from Axiom and Nathan Fraser. And man, this match was so fun. There's certain talents you look at in NXT, and especially with the partnership, you're like, ooh, that's an X Division style wrestler. So you picture what the tag team champs are right now, and it's like they're straight out of the X division. In fact, I'm pretty sure Nathan Fraser, before he went to NXT, he had a cup of coffee in TNA and did a couple X division matches before he went, while he was still a free agent. So just great to see. Bill, what'd you think of this match?
No, you're right. This was an excellent match. Like, you can see the talent there, no doubt. And obviously it doesn't go the way for the former champs over there. But good, well-fought match. Because I think there was like an inkling. I think if you've been watching this, you went in with the idea they could win the titles. There was a history, even though obviously Wentz is a full-time TNA guy. Would it have shocked us if he was to share a belt there? I think that could happen, which would say something for this partnership as well. If somebody just didn't like kind of take a belt and ran with it, but like was working both companies, I think that is a possibility. So it was out there, and but no, I thought they did a great job. And then obviously we see them all, like the Rascalz, in the ring to end the show, looking like they were like, all right, tough loss, but it is what it is. There's still the family out there, and it was not what we were expecting to happen, J-Bone. All was not well in the treehouse.
No, this, like, I wasn't sure how they were going to end this. It almost felt like this was going to be a thing where they're kind of defeated in the ring, and then maybe someone else comes out to challenge them or something. Like something else was going to happen, but not this. This was like, what? Like,
where did this come from?
Like, there's times when, so and so breaking up with so and so as a team, like, the rumblings of, like, for example, the Judgment Day. Who isn't talking about that for weeks and months on end? Like, ooh, Finn's gonna turn on Damian Priest. The Damian Priest is gonna turn on Finn. Carlito's gonna turn on whatever. Carlito's gonna turn on his apple.
Now that's the ultimate turn.
That is the ultimate turn. He looks at his apple and he says, "You're not cool," and he throws the apple, and people go, they all gasp in Spanish. So, but yeah, no one. There was no rumblings of this. There was no, Wesley is gonna.
Yeah. How about the Rascalz have a falling out? Like was that on anybody's bingo card tonight?
No, it couldn't have been. I mean, I'm not saying it wasn't for like anyone, but this isn't something that, like, I like to think that our chat, as goofy as it is sometimes, our chat is a good kind of a good dial of what
the barometer.
A good chunk of the fan base is feeling out there. Whether it's good or bad or whatever. Yeah. And I've never seen anybody talking about that. So, Justin Miller says it was unexpected, but I love those moments that are like that. And it's, that these are the moments you live for, love them or hate them, in professional wrestling, because they stick with you. They stick with you.
Yeah, they want to surprise you. If you could just paint by number and predict everything that's going to happen, then you're too predictable.
Right.
So you want people that follow the product to be surprised. I love when I'm surprised. It shouldn't be that easy to know where everything's going to go. And that's a shocker.
Yeah. Critical Sting says Fraser, aka Ben Carter. God, that was his name. I couldn't even remember his indie name. had an explosion match versus Saban during the pandemic. Man, what a hell of a match to have during the pandemic. So yeah, that must have been at least 3 years ago. So,
Yeah.
So Fraser's been killing it in NXT, man. He's been doing great. It's where true emotions happen. Damn, Skippy, yeah, absolutely. So yeah, the Rascalz, the 2 out of the 3 are going to go back home to TNA, and that this is how you're writing off the conclusion of MSK / the Rascalz in NXT, and it's so, man, it's like, damn, Sean. That's hard.
Chef Sean.
Yeah, Chef Sean, little too much red pepper in that one. Damn.
That's a spicy meatball.
That's a spicy meatball. You get the super kick, and then the double knees, and just, oh man. The emotion is what did it, because Trey's already wearing his emotions on his sleeve. Then his head goes flying, literally, after he gets super kicked by Wes. And Wentz is like, "What are you doing? That's your brother." Before he can even get brother it out, he's swallowing his testicles in his throat. It's like unbelievable. Unbelievable. So yeah, that is the conclusion. And then they do the zoom in on the faces of the crowd, and that's like authentic.
Yeah.
What? It's not like you were expecting something and someone goes, like, "Oh, we saw that coming a mile away." No, don't tell me you saw this coming. No, I don't believe you. Oh man, because so here's the thing. Right before this match, they already advertised a triple threat tag team match I'm guessing for the tag titles. Or not a triple threat. It was going to be Chase U. What was it? Not a triple threat. It's Chase U faces whoever won this match. That's what it was. So, Swag Fan here says, "Are the Rascalz done with West though? Do they get payback?"
I wouldn't put it past them.
This
ain't going to sit right with them.
I can see him doing it, because this feels pretty final, but you can stretch that out. You can have Wesley versus Zachary Wentz. I don't see why not, and that would absolutely be a barn burner. You want to talk about an emotional match. And then what happens after that? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But
yeah, that feels like the blow off.
We'll see. Yeah. Trey Miguel throws a grenade in the ring. If I can't be with both of you, I don't want to be with any of you.
He's got the passion.
He does have the passion. Don't tell me he doesn't. So, but overall, I said this to the chat when I started, Bill. I said, man, this top to bottom, this whole show is really good. I said, if it was up to me, I'd talk about the whole thing. I said, but that's not what we're here for.
That's not what we're here to do.
No, it's not, but it is worth. I'm just saying it is worth talking about.
No, it's a quality show, no doubt about it.
NXT,
and who knows?
Doing a great job.
Maybe we'll continue to see more of these crossovers between the companies, which will give us even more to talk about on both the Thursday review show, the flagship, as well as these Tuesday specials. because there might be even there was 2 angles tonight. There might be 3, 4 angles a show. You don't know as we head in to the end of the summer and the fall with the NXT-TNA relationship.
Yeah. Swack fan going old school here. Remember Barry Windham turning on Lex Luger to join the Horsemen? That was epic.
That was epic.
I'm just gonna nod my head because I don't think I remember that one.
I love the Windham turn back then. I was a huge Windham guy.
What year
talking
are you
about
talking
Barry Windham? Oof. Well, I was what, the early 90s?
I was gonna say, that feels like late 80s, early 90s in NWA.
I think it was WCW then. It was WCW then, but it was early WCW.
Okay. All right.
Good times.
Trey and Wentz going back to TNA with some new energy, says Kill Steel. Yeah, they got
maybe a little earlier. So I can say 86, 87. So then it would have been NWA
86, 87.
All blur from that time frame of the but yeah, right about there. Like
it is. Like I know I watched a lot of that at my friend's house. Like I watched all WWF stuff at home with my parents, and then I'd go over to my friend's house, like a Saturday morning, and we'd watch whatever the hell it was, WCW, NWA, WCW, whatever the hell it was on Saturday mornings.
Yeah, it would have been NWA, yeah, 88.
Yeah, that was before. It was before high school. It was, but that was nuts. Good time in wrestling. It really was.
Oh yeah.
So, anything else, Bill, to comment on this show before we get out of here?
No. I'm with you, Jay. Now that they did a good job with a 2-night special, 2-week special, which sometimes can work, sometimes doesn't work that great. But they did a good job with it. We talked about it last week. I think bringing back the old names is nice for the old fans, where probably a lot of people don't even realize it is an old name. So good to see that maintain some of that old school NWA, WCW flair to it all. But no, I thought it was, once again, a good use of the relationship. I thought, obviously, TNA was in the main event angle, Joe Hendry way over, so I'm sure there'll be more to come of this. And I think we already know there's reasons for all the more NXT viewers watching tonight to tune in Thursday, because we already know there's an angle there. And remember, they were in Florida, so you never know who might show up.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see if and how TNA shows and talks about this final segment here. That's going to
be... They gotta. Like, there has to be something.
Yeah, you think they do,
Yeah, like, so Justin here, both matches came after the NXT title match. Like, that is telling that the partnership matches came after their big belt on the show. So, like, their big belt didn't close the show. It was this angle that's happening between these companies. For if you're one that's maybe not a proponent and being like, well, what's going on here? What are you getting out of it? I think that kind of speaks volumes, the placement on the card here.
Right. And it's not that Ethan Page's match wasn't good. His match was great. I look at it, this, like I said, I know this isn't an NXT review, but I'll say this about that specific match. If you looked at how they did that match, I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with the guy that he faced because he's still, very new to me. but the guy that Ethan Page faced, he did all of his moves and all of his moves and all of his moves. And Ethan Page was just, beat from pillar to post and blah, 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 blah. And it seemed like as soon as he was wore out, Ethan Page came in and just clobbered him and beat him. So that piece of that psychology was like epic, So it's like everything felt like it had a good place in the show, anything could have done any finish, whatever, So I don't think it means it wasn't important. It's just what they were. If you look at who did what and what the finish was for this title match, it's got a bigger.
Yeah, I think you're seeing what matters more and why a certain company behind them is the Goliath in the industry. It's about the storylines. It's not about, because you're right, like, hey, match, great. But once again, does it have the storyline that the Rascalz angles has? No.
What are people going to be talking about?
And that's what you want to finish with. It doesn't just have to be a star rating match for somebody. That's not how you really book a TV show or you book really a premium live event. It should be something where somebody could watch, get invested, and hey, matches can be great, but they want something that's going to bring you back next week, not just say, oh, that was good, I'm going to check out now. And that's what stuff like this does. It's now we want to know what happens. Is it going to happen on TNA? Is it going to happen on Impact? Or is it going to happen on next week's NXT? We have to check in both. That's really where you want to leave people wanting more. And that's what they did here.
Yeah. And for a fan like me and Bill, it's like, yeah, you're all in on this now. Because, it's who gets revenge? Who goes back to the drawing board? Who does this? Who does that? That's why we love stuff like this. It's the stories. It's the
stories.
It is.
And for the people that have stuck around for the full show here, J-Bone, I have a feeling they may want to also check out this Thursday Impact, because I have a feeling, J-Bone, it's in my bones that the hot topic of the world of TNA will be addressed on Thursday, and that is the location of Bound for Glory. So I recommend tuning in on Thursday, because I have a feeling that may be revealed and answer a lot of questions that people have been having for quite some time. On
like all the numerous people messaging me and what's going on? I don't know.
What's going on here?
What's going on here? Why do you lose your meatball? Where is this? Where is the pay-per-view? I don't know.
Uh-oh. Gimmick infringement. Look out.
I only work here. Still in the Bone Man's Game. No.
Where's my bandana?
I'll send you half of mine, because I don't even wear.
Yeah, you're just a hat guy now.
There you go.
But occasionally you rock it. You bring it back for a retro night.
Oh yeah. We do both. Depends on what I'm feeling like. So was that a scoop? We have to find out in a couple of days. We'll see.
Just remember, when you hear somebody else promoting it in the next 24, 36 hours, that you heard it here on the TNI NXT news special.
There you go. Get ready, folks. It's coming. Get ready. All right. So that's going to do it for tonight. Thank you, Bill, for being here. Better late than never. It's always a pleasure. And talking whatever we're always talking about, whether it's NXT, TNA, whatever. It's always good to have you here. Better on than not. But yeah, chat was on fire tonight, coming up with great stuff. So thank you all for joining us, even if it is something a little different. But yeah, we enjoy doing this, and it's been getting a good response. We're going to keep doing this, of course, depending on what happens on certain nights of the week, So, and thanks to our members for being here. And you folks know what to do on your way out. Make sure you smash that like button, smash that sub button, ring that bell for notifications. Why? So that you know when more of our content hits your screen. Good night, folks. We'll see you Thursday. Check in to TNI UK tomorrow in the afternoon and make sure you catch their opinion on all things TNA going on around the world as well. Good night, folks. Much love.